Hi friends, my name is Alicia Sikandar. Welcome to my channel Smart Ed. As you guys know, I'm a preschool Montessori teacher and today's topic of discussion is learning through play. So there is a big misconception in the preschool industry, in parents and teachers, that learning through play basically means giving the child a bunch of toys or a couple crayons and papers and ask them to draw, or some paints and paper or any dollhouse or something to play with, basically, where there are no other developmental uh, accomplishments. However, learning through play is not just that. When we're talking about preschool students, they're basically 3 years plus, 2.5 years plus. You can't make them sit in one position or in front of a board or in a structured environment where you ask them to do something, you direct them to do something, and expect them to develop in all the holistic approaches. When it comes to this age group, we need to design the activities in a way that target different developmental stages: their gross motor skills, their fine motor skills, their imagination, their creativity, their social skills, their spoken skills, how to engage the children and present them with activities that are open-ended, that entice their creativity, that challenge their minds and brings about their imagination for them to explore themselves, while the teacher is basically acting as a facilitator. The parent is acting as a facilitator rather than directing them into certain things. So today, I would like to share some live examples of how I like to set up my table for a group of children and present them with artwork or activities for them to understand emotions, for them to understand how to use their fine motor skills, how to use their imagination to create. So guys, let's see. First of all, if you can see, I love to engage children with a lot of nature material. In this picture, you can see kids are pasting different nature objects onto contact paper. You can use clear tape or whatever material you have at hand. It's so simple and engages the kids for a long time. You can see in the picture how kids are using their pincer grasp and creating artwork while very finely picking up the nature items, the leaves, the twigs, the flowers, and arranging them on the contact paper for them to create an artwork. Next, I would like to show you guys, look at this table. This is another example of involving nature to your table, giving an open-ended opportunity to the child to explore textures, to explore paints, to explore creativity, creation. It's very engaging, very enticing, and very challenging for kids. They feel very fulfilled and happy after doing such artwork. Over here, if you can see, we're giving this paper cut face a haircut, and children were involved in this play for almost like good 15 to 20 minutes. There were a lot of conversations taking place. Kids were developing their skills, their fine motor skills, learning how to cut. There was literally, I did not interfere in their activity even once. So this is one group of children on one table who are engaged for a good 20 minutes and also developing their skills. And these are very little kids. These are like 3.5. Next up, this is another painting table that I set up for the kids with some really tall straws, and I mix water with the paint and just put spoons in there. So the kids are spooning, putting paint on their papers. They're using feathers, they're using googly eyes, they're blowing on the paint to create. This took literally another 20-25 minutes on the table. Kids were totally engaged, happy to create. Some of the kids after this asked me to give them more papers, and I encouraged them to do as much as they wanted. Now you see over here, this is a perfect example of a prepared activity which is open-ended. If you see on these black papers, I have written the names of the kids already. So when they reach the table, the anxiety of which paper is mine, which activity is mine, which paintbrush is mine, is eradicated completely. So when they reach the table, they see their name, or the teacher tells them, this is your name, they kind of recognize it, they sit there. So there's no fighting, no chaos. It is a very good strategy for teachers, especially in a preschool classroom, to avoid that conflict when you're starting an activity. Now, if you see another example over here, I cut out shapes and let the kids discover their imagination over here. I love doing that. This girl wanted to make a truck and she did it beautifully. She counted the corners, she discovered different colors. Next, I'll show you in this activity also, you see like how I just present and put different materials on the table, and then the kids start engaging themselves in it. So it is a very integrated and engaging interactive table. You can see over here, this is the simplest activity you could present. Like literally, I drew on a Ziploc bag and put a black paper. This child spent literally 10 to 15 minutes discovering the fish and eventually started counting. If you see in the next activity, we discovered landforms, geographical stuff. So we were doing geography over here, but not traditionally. We were doing it by engaging the kids in creating a lake and island with stones and water. They're arranging the stones in a way that it looks like a lake, arranging the stones in a way that the land is in the middle and the water is around, so it's an island. The kids remember the landforms. We can do further landforms with this, like system of islands. We can make bigger bins, engage more kids at a time. We can use mud, dirt, water. Then if you see, so yeah, the kids get really rowdy when they're playing with the cars, especially boys. So they're hitting the cars, they're running, rolling them on the shelves. So I discovered these printouts and just pasted them on the table. And this was an awesome idea for me because these kids really wanted to play with their cars that they brought from home. And now they're basically learning parking spaces, rules of the road. They're learning about red, yellow, green light. They're learning about different spaces, and a lot of interactions are going on, conversations are going on. Very, very healthy activity. So you see, we're doing preposition, but not in the traditional way. So I just grabbed a bin, and you can see there's a wooden toy underneath, a roll, like a ball, and then I first gave them a presentation of what under, out, beside, between, in, top, on is like. So basically, we're building vocabulary over here. We're learning about preposition, about spatial knowledge, like what is under, what is out, and where does the item go in the space. It took me less than 5 minutes to create this activity. I grabbed a bin, I grabbed a toy, and I grabbed a paper, cut it out, and wrote with a marker on it, and engaged a group of 8 to 10 kids for half an hour while learning preposition, while visually learning the words, and while building our vocabulary. My friends, these are some examples. You can create more on your own. You don't have to go heavy on the material that you're using. The activities can be designed by mere paper or anything available that you have in the classroom, in the house, and engage the kids for a longer period of time. Prepare the tables in a way that you can divide the groups. So if there's one group on the carpet, there's one group on the table, and that the group that's on the table is does not need a lot of supervision, because the activity is open-ended and you just facilitate when it's necessary. So it's very easy for you to handle a group of 20 kids in a classroom. 5 are engaged in one side, 5 are engaged in one side, and then we have 8 to 10 kids on one table where they're engaged in an activity. You can organize this class and then switch the groups. So a good 1.5 1 hour is easily spent like that. So Thank you so much for watching. I hope that these ideas help the teachers in the classroom, and for those parents who want to create activities who don't know what to do. Our kids are stuck on the iPad and we don't know what to do. So here it is. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.